Most people assume that having few friends means something is wrong with you, that you're broken, damaged, too difficult to love. But what if the opposite is true? What if having a small or even empty social circle is not a sign of failure, but a symptom of something rare? Today, we're going to look at 5 psychological traits that quietly explain why some people walk through life with almost no one beside them, and why that's not the tragedy the world makes it out to be. If you watch this to the end, you might finally understand yourself in a way no one ever bothered to explain. This isn't a video about how to make more friends. This is about understanding why you don't need them the way others do, and what that says about the kind of person you actually are. Let's get into it. Most friendships exist at the surface. Weekend plans, work complaints, memes, the weather. And for most people, that's enough. That's satisfying. But for you, it isn't. You've sat in rooms full of people and felt completely alone, not because no one was talking to you, but because no one was saying anything real. Psychologists call this a need for cognitive intimacy, the desire for conversations that actually go somewhere, that challenge you, that leave you changed. The problem? People like that are rare. And when you're wired for depth, small talk doesn't just feel boring, it feels draining, like spending energy on something that gives nothing back. So you stop, you pull back, and the world calls it antisocial. But it's not antisocial, it's selective. There's a concept in psychology called high sensitivity, first studied by Dr. Elaine Aron in the 1990s. Highly sensitive people don't just experience emotions, they absorb them. They pick up on the subtle tension in a room. They feel other people's moods almost physically. A single harsh comment can sit in their chest for days. For someone like this, socializing isn't just tiring, it can be genuinely overwhelming. And here's what's important to understand. This isn't weakness. This is a nervous system that processes information more deeply than average. Research suggests that around 15 to 20% of people are born with this trait. But when every interaction carries that much weight, when you leave a dinner party needing 2 days to recover, it makes sense that you'd build a smaller, more protected world, not out of fear, out of self-preservation.
Most people reach for their phones the moment they're alone. Silence feels like a threat. Stillness feels like being forgotten. But you've never really understood that. Because inside your own mind, there's already something happening. A question you're turning over, a memory you're re-examining, an idea that hasn't fully formed yet, but feels important. Carl Jung, one of the founding figures of modern psychology, wrote that introverts turn inward to find their energy. The outer world doesn't replenish them, their own inner world does. People with rich inner lives don't collect friends the way others do, because they're not trying to fill a void. There is no void. They're not lonely, they're inhabited. There's a social performance that most people learn to do without thinking. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny. You agree with things you don't believe. You perform interest in conversations that bore you. And for many people, that's just called being polite. But for you, it's something else. It feels like lying, like losing a small piece of yourself every time you do it. Research on personality shows that people high in personal authenticity experience much more psychological discomfort in situations that require them to suppress who they really are. The result? Social environments, with all their unspoken rules and performances, start to feel costly in a way they don't for other people. So you disengage. Not because you hate people, but because pretending to be someone you're not, even slightly, feels like a violation of something fundamental in you. That's not a flaw, that's integrity. Most people treat their social energy like water from a tap, assume it'll just keep flowing. But people with this trait know on some deep level that theirs is more like a battery.
It charges slowly, it drains fast, and certain people, the ones who talk without listening, the ones who take without giving, the ones who need to be managed, drain it completely. So over time, you've developed a kind of internal filter. You don't let just anyone in, not because you're arrogant, but because you've learned, often through painful experience, what it feels like when the wrong person gets too close. Attachment research tells us that some people develop what's called an avoidant style, not because they don't want connection, but because past connections have taught them that closeness carries a cost. And so you move through the world carefully, quietly, with an inner circle so small it might just be you. But the connections you do allow, they tend to be extraordinary.
Society has a story about friendship, that more is better, that a full social life means a full life. But psychology tells a different story. Some of the most extraordinary minds in history, thinkers, artists, scientists, lived in near total solitude. Not because they couldn't connect, but because their relationship with the world was already so rich, so demanding, so consuming, that most people simply couldn't keep up. If you recognized yourself in any of these 5 traits, the depth seeker, the sensitive processor, the inner world dweller, the authenticity protector, the careful guardian of energy, then maybe the question isn't, why do I have so few friends? Maybe the real question is, what kind of person does it take to truly understand me? And maybe the answer is, someone just as rare as you.